Hey everyone, we have a special video for you. I just finished an interview with Matt, the creator and founder of Nexora Mining, and asked the best, most relevant questions that I can think of. I really do think that this interview goes deeper into the nuts and bolts of any cloud mining platform, video, or demonstration that I've ever done. Anyways, let's not waste any more time and get right into the interview. Welcome everybody. I have a very special guest. This is the founder and creator of Nexora Mining. His name is Matt, and I'm going to let him introduce himself. So, without any further ado,
Hey everyone, this is Matt. Thanks for the invitation, and I'll be happy to answer all your questions.
thanks, Matt. We appreciate your time. I know you're a busy guy. So, the first question we have is why the name Nexora Mining, and what gave you the inspiration to start this project?
I have always thought to myself that BTC is the safest crypto to invest in. It's the biggest one, has the highest market cap, and now is being massively demanded by all these institutions, ETFs, all those things. And I wanted to be part of it, a part of the whole Bitcoin success. And what better than Bitcoin mining, which is basically approving and being part of all these transactions. And as for the name Nexora, well, if I'm being honest, I asked a bunch of AIs for funny and kind of tech names, and Nexora came up. But yeah, that's
Okay,
that's my motivation, and that's the name.
makes sense. Yeah, I agree. I got into this, just learning about Bitcoin, and I think mining is obviously super neat. The numbers really fascinate me. You and I have had plenty of conversations, and we definitely share this kind of passion together. I agree with that. So let's go on to the next question. So the next question I have is, how do you ensure transparency for users on your platform?
This question is very important, but before answering it, I have to explain that there's two types of BTC mining, or two ways to do it. First, there's solo. When you mine solo, your miner won't generate you money consistently. It will only be rewarded once you successfully mine a block, which could potentially take decades. So you're not generating stable or constant income. And then you can mine with a mining pool, which is what we at Nexora Mining do. When you mine with a pool of miners, multiple individuals, or miners in this case, combine their computing power to collectively mine Bitcoin. The rewards then get distributed among the pool participants based on their contributed computing power, also known as, well, terahashes. So at Nexora Mining, we keep earning stable to be able to show the users a kind of stable APR. Therefore, we mine with the VIA BTC mining pool, which is probably on the top three biggest mining pools out there. And for transparency, now comes the transparency tab inside the web app. So VIA BTC updates us hourly on how much BTC we generated, which is represented in Nexora Web as last global payout. So from like every hour, we update the last global payout, and people can see how much Bitcoin we generated. Um, Then in the transparency tab, each miner is shown if it's active, inactive, how much live terahash it's generating, and a lot more of a specific information such as payouts and all those things. So that's how we ensure transparency. We show everything. We show how every penny is generated, how much electricity is being discounted, and everything is clear for the user.
Cool. Thank you for the answer. That was very in depth. And I know you mentioned at some point in the future you might have some kind of, showing your miners or like, I don't know if a closed caption television or is there going to be anything like that?
We are planning on having cameras. We know that people value seeing something, but in reality, what's really transparent is showing the blockchain itself, right? Because
Yeah.
cameras can be faked, cameras can be put in a buckle or anything, but with the blockchain, you can't lie. So that's why we thought of our first transparency intent was going to be showing the actual blockchain. But in the future, we wouldn't have any kind of problem having live cameras as well.
Okay. Well, thank you. All right. So question three. Right now, mining power costs, you can see 1338, and on the, it's 1340 when I made my graphics. Um, but as you scale up, is this going to go up? And if it does, can you explain why?
No, so our idea is to keep the price per terahash at around $13.4 to keep it fair for everyone so that everyone has around similar APR. It could change some cents up, some cents down, but the idea is to have it at $13.4 per terahash.
Okay, thank you. So next question. As of this video, we have 290 terahash available. I know it says 400 on the graphic, excuse me. So how fast do you think you can scale up this terahash? When do you think this will happen, and how much at a time?
Okay, so the demand for terahashes has been growing consistently, and I think that people will start realizing sooner than later that we are a trusted project, that they can see everything, we're transparent. So I believe the demand for terahashes will keep increasing. And for terahash restocks, we have a internal calendar. It's not public since we don't want to overpromise, because with crypto mining you usually have some problems that you don't expect. For example, cable saturation or things like that that you have to change. But we expect to have weekly consistent terahash restocks and hopefully grow as fast and as consistent as possible. Of course, keeping this all the securities and not rushing things to not make any mistakes.
Okay, thank you. All right, next question, and this is more of a follow-up question, is what challenges have you faced while scaling up Nexora, and how have you tackled it?
Okay, so nothing has been particularly hard to do. However, dealing with electric infrastructure, cables, and everything is sometimes stressful and slower than expected, because sometimes you depend on other people as well, electricians and stuff like that. Um, but since even though we have low electric costs, we still have to build the infrastructure, right? By the cables, by the everything. So that is probably the most stressful part. It's not hard, but it's stressful. I think the hardest challenge to deal with has been sleep, to be honest. We push ourselves to do everything in a perfect and fast way all the time. So we sometimes forget to get our 8 hours sleep a day. But other than that, it's been pretty entertaining and funny to do.
Okay, thank you. All right, so next question. So during this recent installation, our APRs got pretty low, around 40% on average. And they're usually around 60%. You can see right now it's 70.4%. Bitcoin is up, which helps. So, what can we do in the future to ensure that it doesn't dip down this low? And is there anything you can do?
So to put it in simple words, we had to take one face down. We usually have to take one face down for every update we make on the warehouse. So at the moment, one face represent 12 miners, and that's usually how it will keep in the future because we expand on each place has three phases and we have different places. So each phase will often be 12 miners.
Okay.
That will represent a much lower amount of miners in the future whenever we expand. So APR will still change when we do maintenance or when we do an expansion, but it will change in a much lower way and it will be barely noticeable when we do that. It could change from 60 to like 57 or stuff like that. And now,
Okay.
since all we got is 30 miners, APR changes by like a third of the total amount, which is around 60 to 40, right?
Yeah.
Which is what happened. Also, it is expected to have some inactive time on miners for sometimes maybe internet failures or connections things happen, but that's usually not too often and could happen, but it's not common to happen. And of course, we will let everyone know in the Discord if it happens at any time and how much time it's expected for the miners to be reconnected again.
Okay. Yeah, no, this is kind of what I tell people is, you guys are still in the startup phases. You're in the very very beginning stages of a business, and 12 miners right now is a lot, but in the future, when you're doing an expansion, it'll be such a smaller percentage. And just I tell people to give us some time, trust these guys. I talk to you all the time, so obviously I trust you, but we're trying to get everybody there.
Yeah, so the whole idea is to let people know how things work internally, why there's downtime for any minor, and basically be transparent to everyone and let everyone know what's happening because these are normal problems that every cloud mining platform had in their early stages. Well, not everyone, because there are many miners, mining platforms that are just fake and don't even have miners.
Oh
But
yeah.
the real ones, they've always faced problems like this, and it's part of the growth. It's part of the growing process.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Let's go on to the next question. So you mentioned on your website that there's going to be an app coming out around the end of the year. Can we expect there to be a debit card option as well? I know you'd mentioned that, and could that be out before the apps come out?
Yeah, so we're planning on releasing a mobile app before the end of the year, not only to be able to access the mobile users, because they can always access the website right now via web browser, but also to get access to those credit and debit card payment processors with Apple Pay or Google Pay. And we're doing research on those and trying to, because at the end of the day, they have a commission, which we have to decide whether if we pay it or the user pay it or we pay it half each. Um, but yeah, you guys can expect a mobile app before the end of the year, and ideally maybe credit and debit card payment processors on the website before the app, sorry.
Okay, I know. I know that's a pretty decent gate of entry for some people, and I would say probably the question I'm asked the most is whether they can get the debit or credit. So I'm sure as soon as you get that, you'll get even more business. As much as you guys been killing it, all more the better, right? Okay, so
Yes.
let's go to the next question. So you have a 5-year commitment with the power company in Argentina, and they charge 5 cents per kilowatt hour. Is there a limit to your power? And is this rate locked in for the entire 5 years?
Okay, so as for the limit, there is limit. However, it's way beyond our consumption goals for this and probably the next year as well. We would have to get around $10 million in terahash sales to get to that limit. However, it's also negotiable in the future to expand that limit. And for the rate at 5 cents per kilowatt hour, it's locked at that price and negotiable to 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour once our consumption reaches a certain amount.
Okay, so you're saying as it goes up, the price will go down,
Yeah,
potentially.
that's
Okay,
ideally.
okay,
And for
interesting.
the limits, we didn't focus on expanding the limit yet since we see it very far from now, right?
Okay, I understand. Well, this is the last question, and I just wanted to say thank you, Matt. I know you're really busy. I know you're running on no sleep, and you're doing this for me and the community. And I think this is an important video. So I just have the last question, like I said. So, what excites you the most about the future of Nexora mining?
Well, it's exciting to me to see the growth step by step. This may sound weird, but I'm basically in love with Nexora and how things are working out and how we're doing things. So there's something I value a lot in. I will talk about more of a personal way now. For example, whenever you go to your local supermarket, you usually go and, I don't know, you grab a tomato, for example, but you have no idea the source of that tomato, like what they gave it, like water, any chemicals, what you're eating, you don't know. And I always valued to know the source of what I'm eating, of where I'm investing, where I am investing, and everything like that. And in Nexora, that's actually what you have. So you invest in buying terahashes where you know the miners. You can see them. You can see the actual terahashes. You can see the mining pool. You can see everything. You can see what electricity is being discounted, how much, what commission you have. You know everything. And that's value for me. That's something that I, as a user, would value a lot to know exactly the source of my investments, how much money I'm getting, how it's coming, how it's being generated, absolutely everything. And that is one of the things I value the most about Nexora. And that excites me a lot. And it gives me confidence to keep growing, to keep expanding. And that's what excites me the most about the future of Nexora, to be the one and only project that shows absolutely everything, is fully transparent, and grows together with the community uh, in a honest way, let's say.
Yeah, no, and my channel is all about these cloud mining apps, as you know, and you reached out to me for that reason in the very beginning. But I can't mislead people. They have to be able to trust me, or what's the point of me making these videos? So whenever there's an app that looks shady to me, I call it out, and when you talked to me and told me about everything that you're doing, it's just kind of inspiring, and it's really cool to work with you, Matt. I just wanted to thank you for taking this time, and you know, I'm sure you answered a lot of people's questions. That said, do you have any final thoughts that you want to tell everybody, or?
I want to complement something on the previous answer as well. According to the excitement of the future and the whole transparency thing, I think it's very important when you know how a project makes money and that makes sense, right? There are many cloud mining platforms that I've seen that claim to be mining and they offer 300% APR. That wouldn't even be possible paying zero electricity costs. It's not
Mm,
possible. It's just not existent. You can't get that. Highest you could get paying 0% electricity, $0 in electricity would be around 150, and that's
mm,
the maximum you could get. So I think it's important to be part and to get involved in projects that are transparent, that show everything, that you know the source. Like that's very important for me, to get people to know the source of their money, of how it's being generated, right? Because in the web app they just see a number, but
yeah,
how do you verify that that number is real, right? And it's also very important that not only the project is transparent to you, but also you as a user to know that the project is also making money. Because if
yeah,
everyone's making money, then it's nice for everyone, right? But when a
absolutely.
part is losing, that's when future problems comes, and that's what we want to evade at Nexora. That's why maybe you can see commissions, purchase fees, and those kind of things is to make it sustainable for us, the team, and for the project growth for the future.
Well, thank you so much, Matt. I know this was not the easiest thing for you to do in your busy schedule. And again, I just want to thank you for your time, and we'll do this again in the future. We'll come up with even cooler ideas.
Oh, thanks for the invitation, and I'll be glad to answer more questions in the future.
Sounds good, buddy. We'll talk later. Well, I hope you all got as much out of this interview as I did. And you can see why I choose Nexora as my primary investing cloud mining platform. And if you do have any questions for Matt in a future interview, please let me know. I'll put them on the list and I'll ask him next time I talk to him. And this was my very first interview or doing anything like this. So if you like it, please let me know and I'll keep doing it in the future. Anyways, please like and subscribe if you already have it. And I'll keep thinking of new ideas and new ways to improve the channel. And I just want to say I appreciate you all, everybody who watches these videos and supports the channel. This was a pretty cool 100th video in my opinion. And until next time, I'll see you up in the clouds.